All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today is episode 3 of season 3 of the Look-In series. If you don't know what the series is, it's where at the end of each year, I look back at the team's season, recap the year, see what the future holds for them, and look in to what this team is doing. Today's episode is on the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going to talk all about them here today. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer as the days go on. So I'll support our channel. Be very much appreciated. Link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So episode 3 of season 3. This is on the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets is here. They haven't played their final game yet, but right now they're currently 19-62, so potentially either a 19 or 20 win season for the Hornets. And yeah, just not a great year for Charlotte. Coming into the season, I had decent expectations. I thought this team maybe could, fight for a playing appearance at some point. With LaMelo Ball being so injured the past few years, them having Brandon Miller who had a really good rookie year, and just a couple decent pieces around, bringing Charles Lee as a new head coach, who I really liked. I was kind of high on what this Hornets team could do, and they didn't really, hold up to that at all. Obviously, it was fun to start the year. The first maybe couple weeks with LaMelo was going off, it was really fun. Then Brandon Miller gets hurt, and then it's just kind of just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. And they were one of the worst teams in the league. I feel like for the second half of the year, like it got bad, you know. Um, and I feel like for the entire season since the Hornets been bad, I don't know if I've said it on here, but I've thought it at least. Like, I just don't feel like the Hornets should still be this bad when you think about it. But then you look and you're like, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's so many injury problems. I mean, Brandon Miller only played 27 games. LaMelo only played in 47 games again this year. Mark Williams only played in 44. Trey Mann, who was a bright spot early on, was an early Six Man of the Year candidate, only played in 13 games. Grant Williams only played in 16 games before tearing his ACL. Um, yeah, just had so many injuries this year to key players, moving people in and out, trades, and all this stuff around. That the Mark Williams trade that didn't go through. It's just a lot going on with the Hornets, man. A really lot going on, and just they still haven't really found anything to really rely on. You know what I mean? Like they still haven't really found anything that makes them look like the future is bright. I mean, you have LaMelo and Brandon Miller, two guys that already shown they're going to be really good in this league. And then you have the glimpses of Mark Williams, the glimpses of Trey Mann. Nick Smith Jr. did some decent things this year. Josh Green, I feel like had a really solid season. Your rookie this year, Tijan Salon, didn't have a great season, but you knew when you drafted him he was going to be a project. It wasn't going to be a year one pop off guy. He's going to take a while to really come into his own. But I feel like they still haven't really found anything they can rely on to because all the people that they want to rely on are just not healthy. Like again, LaMelo the last 3 or 4 years has just been injured. Brandon Miller this year, unfortunately, had the injury. Mark Williams has never really been healthy at all. Even Trey Mann, again, 13 games this year. The people they want to rely on to really kind of hold down the fort for the future just are not healthy. And so it's really hard to try to build the team and try to make a rebuild happen and try to fill this team out when you don't know at any point if your star players are going to be there or not, you know? So it's just really, really tough. And for them to be a 19 to 20 win team this year, it's kind of great. I mean, the last couple years they've been bad, but at least last year they won 21 games. You could not have convinced me coming into this season that this team this year was going to be worse than the team last year. You couldn't convince me that. Yet they are. They're going to be worse than last year record-wise, at least. Like, that's crazy to me. And I still feel like they shouldn't be this bad. And you just stop and you think, and you look at this Hornets landscape and look at everything, you're like, dang, like, when are the Hornets ever going to get back to being a competitive team? I'm not even saying a 45. I'm not even saying a playoff team. Like, a good competitive team. Like, when LaMelo's early years, where they were in the play-in at least, and they were fighting with the 9-10. Like, when are they ever going to get back to that, even? Like, I don't know. It's going to take a little while. I mean, they have the benefit of being in the Eastern Conference, so they just have one decent season, a 37-win year, and all of a sudden they get to the 10 seed. But even then, that looks so tough because again, the injuries are just so tough, and I feel like the Hornets, they just can't really get things right over there. Like they made good picks, they made some right decisions, but it's just really, really hard to like figure out what this team is going to look like in the future and what this team is going to do in the future, you know? And honestly, when you think about it, it's like, how long is Lamelo going to be there for? Lamelo's already been in the league 5, 6 years and hasn't even sniffed anything close to a successful season. He's made probably like what, one or two play-in games. That's all he has to his name right now. Now, of course, he also has dealt with injuries, so it's not like he's not part of the problem because he does have the injuries the last couple years. But even still, like, how long is Lamelo Ball comfortable with sitting around in Charlotte, being on this horrible team for whoever knows how? And again, it's not like they don't really. It's not like they really have a bright light you can rely on. I mean, there's bright lights there. There's something there with Lamelo and Brandon Miller and these guys, but how bright is it really? And how much can we rely on it to be bright? You know, like can we really trust the Charlotte Hornets to build a competent team? I don't know if I trust the Charlotte Hornets to do that. I just can't really trust them. And so, how long is LaMelo Ball gonna wait around here and sit around here being the guy and being on 25, 26 win teams for who knows how long? So I'm very interested to see how that LaMelo Ball conversation in terms of a trade or anything happens. If that does materialize this year, even if it doesn't happen, if it just the talks ramp up, I wouldn't be too shocked. You know, I'd like to see how that works. You probably think Mark Williams might be gone after the trade didn't go through and the injuries. You assume probably Mark Williams is gone, which really sucks because I really think Mark Williams could be really good. But he also, again, injuries have really derailed him. And so now the Hornets are going to go into another year. They're going to try to get another top pick, and it's going to be key that the Hornets hit on this pick. You know, the Hornets are going to have to hit on this one. If the Hornets don't hit on this pick, I don't know what happens for the future because you have another year where another failed guy. I just don't know. Right now, they're probably projected what the third pick. Getting Ace Bailey potentially at number 3 could be something. I mean, you have Lamelo. I mean, sorry, you have Brandon Miller and Ace Bailey as your wings. Two big shot making wings isn't horrible, you know. Um, and obviously the Hornets are gonna have to try to develop him. So we'll see what happens there. But I wouldn't mind the idea of that. If they do jump up and get Dylan Harper, you get Dylan Harper and Lamelo. Maybe that makes things easier for you to get rid of Lamelo if you think Dylan Harper is going to be the guy for the future. Even if they jump up number 1 to get Cooper Flag, I mean that would obviously help a ton. You know, with Lamelo, Brandon Miller, and Cooper Flag, a big 3 of that in the future could be solid. But let's say even if they do, you know, drop maybe a Kaman Malawach, I wouldn't mind at all. You get rid of Mark Williams, add in Kaman Malawach, and I think that could be a really good thing. Having a big man for the future, hit Lamelo and Malawach kind of pick and roll, and having a big man really helps out a lot of things. VJ Edgecombe maybe could be a guy. Put an athletic defender next to Lamelo and Brandon Miller, two guys that you know, Lamelo and Brandon Miller took about 11 3-pointers a game this year, so they're going to need someone to get to the basket, and VJ Edgecombe can do that with athleticism and being a guy in the defensive end. I think the Hornets have a really good chance in this draft of getting the right guy. I do, because I think all the guys I've named, I love for the Hornets. You know, now if they do fall in the draft, things get a little bit tricky. But I do feel like the Hornets kind of are in a good position in this draft where any of those 5 candidates I named go there. I like the fit. Like I like obviously Cooper Flag. You know, Dylan Harper obviously is really good, and you put Dylan Harper next to Lamelo Ball. Maybe things could work out there. Ace Bailey, another shot maker. Him and Brandon Miller having 2 big wings that can shoot the ball and hit big shots. You know, could be really, really useful. And that could be a really good, you know, tandem for the future. Came in Malawach, you know, being a center that they finally, you know, they've needed a center and finally having Malawach in there. VJ Edgecombe could be a guy that could really, you know, play a contrasting style that can work next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Like I like all those guys there. Really, I do. I like all those guys there. And so the Hornets have a good chance of getting a good rookie this year. And I feel like again, it's really important for the Hornets to hit on this draft pick because if they do, then finally having a third guy with Lamelo, Brandon Miller, and then having a third guy you can rely on and being like, okay, he's gonna be good in here, that could do wonders. That really, really can. But the Hornets, it's just been all bad. And again, another really disappointing season. And I'm just thinking, like, how long can this go? How long can this go on for? How long are the Hornets still gonna be super bad? Like how long is Amelo going to stay around here? How, but how much can we rely on these guys to stay healthy? How much can we rely on the Charlotte Hornets to build a competent team? I don't really know yet. We have to wait and see. But it was a really disappointing year in Charlotte. I still don't, I think, like, I still think about it. I'm like, dang, I cannot believe this team is still really bad. Like, haven't even had any, like, good points where it's like, okay, you see the vision at some point. Like, it's been bad, man. It's been really bad. And I just can't imagine how long this is going to go on if they don't get another pick this year that hits. If LaMelo and Brandon Miller don't get healthy. And these both are guys that, Brandon Miller, I'm coming to slack because Brandon Miller, this is the first time we've seen it. So Brandon Miller, I assume, is going to be healthy. But LaMelo, this is a year in and year out thing. So if LaMelo can never get healthy, this Hornets team will never, ever come close to what it's supposed to be. That's just the truth at the end of the day. If LaMelo Ball never gets healthy, there's nothing for the Hornets in the future, and they're going to have to get rid of him. You know? So I'm very interested to see what the Hornets do with that NBA draft. I feel like that could change a lot of things, and I'm just praying for health, man. I'm praying for health for these guys because I really would love to see this full Hornets team have a year where they go out and show what they can be, and be healthy and prove that they can be better than this. Prove they can be better than this. I really hope they do. So yeah, I'm just hoping for a healthy year next year for Charlotte, and we'll see what happens at the NBA draft, who they pick up, and what happens to this team future if they can ever get things right. But you guys can be here today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate a whole lot. Once again, around the road to 1,000 subscribers. So all support around the channel will be very much appreciated. Go watch the last 2 episodes of the Look In series. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.